Lester, good evening to you. What you see behind me here is a pile of misery, and it is not unique. There are several communities and neighborhoods and residential areas that look just like this. This was a shopping center, and beyond that, a school, and now you can't even figure out what it is. Tonight, everyone in this area is praying that the winds don't pick up. A firefighter telling me that the smallest ember with those winds can turn into a blowtorch.
This is what the most destructive wildfire in Los Angeles history looks like.
Everything is gone.
The toll of the devastation is staggering. Thousands of structures already obliterated, more than authorities can even count. The burn area in the Pacific Palisades now bigger than Manhattan. The fire killing 5 people.
I think the death toll will rise. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to rise.
These apocalyptic conditions now in their 3rd day, and the biggest infernos are still 0% contained.
This is one of the eeriest scenes we've seen so far. These were the cars that were abandoned when people got stuck in gridlock and had to run for safety. A bulldozer came through here to let fire crews out. Those cars were spared, but these cars right here were stuck in the inferno. You can see how hot it got. Look at that. That's molten metal that was rolling down the bluff.
And today's stunning video showing the threat to Los Angeles' infrastructure as the Eaton fire approached the transmission towers on Mount Wilson, threatening radio, cellular, and broadcast signals citywide. Roughly 2,000 firefighters are still stretched across the front lines, but it's not enough. Residents pitching in to save their own homes.
This is a tragedy. You just never think it's going to be you. And now that it is me, I can't tell you the amount of heaviness in this disaster.
We met the Champion family who lost everything.
What I would give to do dishes in our own house, which is like so basic, but things that you take for granted, all the life that we built here.
And the threat is not over. Last night, new fires ignited near more heavily populated areas. The Sunset Fire triggering rush hour evacuations in the heart of Hollywood. Miraculously, a break in the winds let crews attack the fire from the air, stopping the blaze before it could reach homes. These firefighters are going nonstop, 60 hours battling more than just the flames.
How's your water pressure been?
Water pressure's been a big issue. We have had hydrants, dead hydrants. So we've been having to go back to Sunset Boulevard to get water to come all the way out here.
The smoke hasn't cleared and anger is growing. Many questions loom. Was Los Angeles prepared?
We will absolutely do an evaluation to look at what worked, what didn't work, and to correct or to hold accountable any body, department, individual, etc.
Failing water pressure and hydrants leading to a heated moment. A fire victim challenging California's governor.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be.
While the cause of the fire is still unknown, the damage is incalculable. Before and after satellite pictures show the story. On the Malibu coast, a row of multi-million-dollar mansions laid to waste. 40 miles away, this view from Altadena, a middle-class neighborhood dotted with destructive fires.
It's a wasteland.
For those coming back, home looks like a hellscape.
We couldn't even recognize it on our way up here. We didn't even know where we were 1 block from our house because everything was so different. There's no landmarks left.
And Tom, you mentioned there was a break in the weather. The winds were a bit more favorable today, but the situation is growing more serious this evening.
That's right. Firefighters are still working around the clock. Officials believe the death toll will likely grow as they check out more neighborhoods. And there's one more thing they're warning about tonight, and that is looters. If you can believe it, Lester, people are coming to areas like this and stealing what little people have left. So far, there have been at least a dozen arrests. Lester?
All right, Tom, thank you. The task of fighting such a massive area of fire is immense. And as Morgan Chesky reports, the struggle for water is complicating the fight on the front lines.
Tonight, a relentless firefight far from over. Frontline crews facing challenges that only start with the flames.
What do we got going?
So what we have is the fire's already burned through here.
What we're looking at right now could have been caused by a single ember.
One ember could have caused this.
We join Los Angeles Fire Captain Adam Van Gerpen in the Pacific Palisades.
This hydrant has no water in it.
Where lack of water, critical to battling a still active wildfire, frustrated crews. This one from San Francisco.
What should the water pressure be right now, ideally?
I mean, you want 50 to 80 is your ideal hydrant pressure.
And what have you got?
I'm bouncing between 0, 50. It's not a consistent pressure.
As nearby hydrants failed and water pressure fell, firefighters above switching from offense to defense.
When you run out of water in that engine,
not much we can do then. We came on, this is our first job for the day.
Flames burning for precious minutes before any reinforcements could arrive.
Had we had water earlier on in the firefight, we probably could have stopped it from getting this big.
this is something we have not seen often, but when the hydrants are dry, crews have to rely on these tanker trucks because the fire waits for no one.
The situation, a familiar one for the captain, a 25-year veteran of the LAFD. Mere blocks away, another call coming in for another home up in flames.
If we had any wind right now, completely different firefight.
100% different firefight.
Just feet away, $1 million view burned beyond recognition.
There's not even a single home from this entire viewpoint that we can see that has survived.
If you had officials in front of you right now, what would you ask for to have had a proper firefight here?
More firefighters, more fire hydrants, more airdropping capabilities. We need more of everything.
Tonight, these crews doing whatever they can with whatever they have, fighting a historic disaster head on.
And Morgan, this all coming out of a red flag warning. Do those remain in effect?
Yeah, Lester, they absolutely do. And that's one of the big concerns of the crew we embedded with today. They tell us that one ember can travel up to 2 miles. And that is why until that red flag warning expires at 6 p.m. on Friday, everyone needs to stay on guard because a potential fire could pop up almost anywhere. Lester.
Morgan Chesky, thank you. And the view from space shows the magnitude of the fire in Altadena, just part of the fire zone. And for so many returning home today, there was little left. Gadi Schwartz joins us. And Gadi, you spent the day in Altadena. What did you find?
Lester, heartbreak. We found so much heartbreak. People coming back to nothing left at all. In fact, this building right here, this is the outlier because this building still has walls up. So many of the homes that we visited today were down to the foundations, a bunch of melted metal and piles of ash.
In Altadena today, desolation and eerie silence, punctured by gas lines still spewing fire. In the destruction, there was a search for anything with meaning.
This is everything you own.
Everything. And then, you know, now we're just trying to find something. I mean, I don't care, like my kid found a teacup, half a teacup, broke. She was thrilled. You know, I mean, what else can we get, man? It's gone, bro.
As the flames descended at 4 in the morning, Rupert Garcia tried to fight back.
This tree caught on fire. Embers were flying all over the place onto the house.
One ember even scorching his cheek.
At what point did you realize that, like, I'm not going to save the house?
When my son-in-law grabbed me like this and said, no, we got to go.
Wow.
And I was like, no, man. And I turned around and I said, man, I can't go, bro. 51 years, man, I've been in this house.
Shortly after Rupert was forced to flee the neighborhood, we arrived to find what felt like a hurricane of fire. In the chaos, we spotted a horse alone and trapped in an inferno and ran to get help. This is firefighter Garrett Mora jumping to action.
I was keeping him cool. I sprayed some water around him.
Today, when we met up with Garrett again, we learned the horse survived. But across the way, Jose de la Torre shows us what was the garage full of landscaping tools he had just invested in. Now his livelihood, along with almost everything else, gone in an instant. So often we hear they escaped only with the clothes on their back.
I didn't get anything. This is it. Look at my shoes. See? These are my house slippers.
Tonight, that is the shared and terrible reality.
You work hard for your American dream.
For so many in a community who came face to face with these flames. Gadi Schwartz, NBC News, Altadena, California.
And earlier in the broadcast, we told you about the looting happening in some areas, and now the sheriff announcing a curfew in the fire zones. Steve Patterson joins us. Steve, what more do we know?
Lester, the sheriff tonight saying there have been more reports of burglary, more reports of looting in fire zones like this. To combat that, more resources, more boots on the ground, including, we're hearing, the National Guard expected to be active at both the Eaton and Pacific fire zones. And yes, a curfew, if not implemented tonight, then tomorrow night, starting at 6 p.m. every night to 6 a.m., with the goal being avoid more further victimization of people already suffering so much. Lester?
All right, Steve Patterson, thank you.
The engine right here.
As wildfires continue to rage in California, one estimate says the insured losses are already at least $20 billion. For Brianna Navarro, the loss is incalculable.
She loved her family.
She believes her grandmother, Arlene Kelly, perished at their home in the Eaton fire.
I thought she would be like 99, you know, just walking around.
Their house of more than 40 years burned to the ground.
Are you worried as you rebuild that you won't be able to get insurance anymore?
Possibly, yeah. It's difficult. Where do you even start?
7 of California's top 12 home insurers either paused or limited policies over the last 2 years. State Farm, which has 21% of the market share in the state, announced in March it was making the difficult but necessary decisions that would mean not renewing 30,000 home policies in the state, ending 69% of its policies in the now devastated Pacific Palisades.
Insurance in California is horrifying.
In Altadena, Dustin and Aaron Rubin say they were dropped from another insurance company last year. It was only last month they finally found a company that would give them coverage.
I wonder how many other people weren't able to get that policy at the 11th hour, because you worked very hard to get it.
More and more Californians are turning to the state-created insurance provider of last resort called Fair Plan, a temporary safety net offering basic coverage when people can't get insured through private companies, with enrollment in home policies surging 123% in the past 4 years. Ricardo Lara is California's insurance commissioner.
Once people submit their claims, when should they expect to see the money?
So it all depends. I know it's difficult. A difficult answer. I want to make sure that we get it as quickly as possible. Weeks, if not a month.
Experts say those who have suffered a loss from the wildfires should keep track of all expenditures, start going through photos and videos that can be used as evidence to show what was in the home, and document everything, something many here are doing right now.
And the governor here in California telling me he expects these fires to be among the most costly disasters of our lifetime. So many losing everything, and the process of being made whole just getting started. Lester.
Liz, thank you for that. Finally tonight, the Palisades fire destroyed so many houses of worship, but one is still standing tonight, and our Jacob Soboroff is there.
Everything across the street from the synagogue burnt down, but the synagogue is still here. What's it like to see it?
Surreal.
Unbelievable.
For Rabbis Amy Bernstein and Daniel Schur and Cantor Chaim Frankel, seeing the Kehilat Israel synagogue standing amid so much devastation is staggering.
Look at this. This is the ash that came through the door?
Yeah.
I can't believe it's the only one I'm so glad it's here.
Knowing what happened outside of these walls and seeing even just this piece is...
The remnants of the Palisades is right here.
Wow. This is the community in which I went to preschool.
Yes. Yeah.
My siblings had their bar mitzvahs here.
This is now a refuge for the entire community, not just the Jewish community.
You know what, Chaim? You could fill the sanctuary with your congregants who have lost their homes.
Correct.
Yes.
At least this home is standing for so many people, so many of us. This is our home.
When tragedy strikes and disaster strikes, we turn to our faith. And that's what this represents. I sing this lovingly for our community to heal. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malachuto, Leolam Vaed.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.